This is the GeForce GTX 980 Ti. This particular unit is a rather nice example. This is a Gigabyte G1 Gaming, which I believe was their top end version of the 980 Ti. They had a low end and a high end. This is kind of the high end version. As you can tell, it's a rather good looking card. Very good looking card. It's got kind of almost an unfinished metal cage aesthetic going on here, but it is a nice card. I like the way this card looks. It has a good aesthetic to it. You can kind of see the copper pipes in there mixed with the silver, the heat sinks. But is it the best budget gaming card? Budget gaming GPU. Some people get annoyed at the word card. And the answer is not necessarily, but maybe. It's kind of and I've been seeing this a lot lately, and I'm guilty of doing it myself. The what's the best budget gaming video card, and that the thing with because typically we're working with used cards, and the thing with the what is the best is it's kind of a hard question to answer, because when you're talking about used parts, a used part is worth whatever someone thinks it's worth. I mean, yeah, you can kind of go to eBay and you can look and you can say, okay, what does 90% of this stuff go for? But for the best deals, you're going to be looking on the used market. On the local used market. eBay is its own thing. But if you're looking for the best deals, you're looking on the local used market. And the thing with the local used market is that it's not necessarily dead on with what you can expect off of eBay. So with your local used market, I mean, I've seen these. So for full disclosure, I paid $60 for this particular unit. That's more than I wanted to pay. It's more than I offered for it. And the only reason I paid that much for it was because I wanted one right then and there. I did not want to wait for a deal for this card. And the plus or minus $20-$25 I might have additionally saved. In my book, I didn't care. I'm sorry. I hate how that makes me sound totally out of touch with money, but $20-$25, I wanted a card, and I cared more about getting the card than I did the $20-$25. So I wouldn't recommend that any of you pay that much for these. If you're going to pay $60, just watch for a 1070. If you're going to get one of these, I would recommend looking for one for $30 to $40. So this card has a lot of things going for it, though, as a potential epic budget option. So one of them is age. The card is old enough now that you have a lot more situations where somebody just has it sitting around. It's my old video card. It's been sitting around for 5 years. I don't use it anymore. I just want it gone. I want a tank of gas. You're more likely to get that with an older card, the older the card gets. However, what it also has going for it is that it's still powerful enough to be relevant. So I've tested this. The only game that really brings this to its knees is stuff like Jedi Survivor will absolutely crush this card. You'll be able to play it, but it'll crush it. But everything else is going to run. I mean, you're going to be able to run Cyberpunk 2077 medium to high settings, 1440p, definitely with upscaling, maybe without. Stuff like that. Your esports titles, your Fortnite, your Apex Legends, that kind of stuff, no problem. You're gonna be hitting more than competitive. You're gonna be hitting in the probably multiple hundreds of FPS, depending on the chip you have it paired with. Definitely, probably multiple hundreds of FPS. It's still a good card. So it's got that going for it, and then it's got features going for it. It's still fully DX12. At least I think it's. I don't know if there's a new revision, but last I knew it was fully compliant with DX12. The big noticeable thing. So for example, like I would recommend, say, an older GTX, or should I say a lower end GTX 970, for example, over a technically faster GTX 780 Ti, because with the Maxwell architecture, which is what these have, they've got all the stuff present that's needed to render modern games. At least I've tested most of the current gen relevant games with this card, and some of them did run slow, but they did all run, and there weren't like giant empty spaces where features were missing and it couldn't render this or that. I didn't have that problem. I did have that problem with 700 and earlier. So I've recently tested a 780 and a 690, and both of those cards, there were games they just couldn't load. They just wouldn't load, or they couldn't run certain features. A good example was Cyberpunk on the 780 couldn't run FSR, which, say what you will about FSR, but FSR would have paid for that little party, okay? FSR would have made the 780 able to run it. And it could run, I think, FSR 1.0, but the newer version of FSR that's in Cyberpunk 2.0 and forward just wouldn't run. It would just go to a black screen. This card doesn't have that problem. So it'll run just about anything. And it's more powerful than a card like an RX 580. Or I'm sorry, RX? Is it RX? Yeah, RX 580. This, for all intents and purposes, is a faster card than RX 580. And so people legendarize that card in their mind. This card's better. Hands down, 980 Ti is better than RX 580. So it's got that going for it. So it's got a lot going for it. It's up to you, your individual market as to whether or not the card's a good deal. So I'm going to say you're going to want this card for $30, maybe $40. Once you start hitting $50, like here in Seattle, I see 1070s occasionally for $50. Sometimes nice ones. I saw a Strix 1070. No, I'm sorry. I saw a Strix 1080 a couple days ago for $60. So if you can watch and get a card like that, you're better off. But if you can pick one of these up for, say, $30, $40, it's a good buy. A couple of the downsides, though, I will mention that could affect that. You are going to need to have a decent power supply. It does have 2 8-pins, so that's an issue. Which anyone running a reasonably decent custom build, that's not going to be a problem for. If you're running like a Dell pre-built, assuming this would even fit, it's going to be a problem for you. Don't even try doing it. Do not try to use an adapter to go to this, unless you happen to have 4 6-pins, which you don't if you need an adapter, but there you go. So anyway, I hope you like that little look at this, why I think it's a good card, why I think it could be a good budget option. You just have to, it's all about the back end, right? It's all about the acquisition. So if you acquire under the right circumstances, it's going to be an awesome buy for you. Anyway, I hope you guys find this interesting, and thanks for watching.